Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another college football video. Now, a few weeks ago, I had actually put out another video talking about the evolution of college football, and the main point of the video was that these divisions in every conference will, to some degree, be eliminated because it's just overall better for the sport. And since that video was released, we've got the Pac-12 announcing starting in 2023, they will be removing divisions. We've got something that came up yesterday where a few different people realized the Big Ten has had each school remove all of the Big Ten games off of the schedule for the 2023 and 2024 seasons. Now, how the Big Ten does scheduling is they do it way in advance. So, for every team in the Big Ten, the 2023 season and the 2024 season, this schedule was already set. And the schedule was based off of the idea that the East Division was going to remain in place, the West Division was going to remain in place. You have the one protected crossover, for Ohio State. That protected crossover has now become Wisconsin. For Michigan, the protected crossover has now become Nebraska, and you face those teams every single year along with every member of your division, and then two others from the other division rotating each year. Both of those schedules are completely wiped off. None of them are up. So what that tells me, you take a look at what happened in the Pac-12, you take a look at what the ACC is trending towards doing. The Big Ten starting in 2023, I'm guessing we'll get an announcement very soon, will be eliminating divisions. And what I think is going to happen, and I can put up my graph of kind of a mock on what I think, the team, how the alignment should go. You're going to be facing three teams every single year to protect rivalries, and then you're going to rotate through five different teams facing five one year and then five the next year. So it's going to be like a rotation. The main issue with the divisions is you just wouldn't face a team for 6 or 7 years. Ohio State hasn't gone to Illinois since 2015 or something crazy like that. Now, I think it's part of because they had a game scheduled, and in 2020 the pandemic knocked it down. But you protect the crossovers. I don't know the exact way they're going to do the crossovers. I think it gets a little tricky with Michigan because you're going to want to have them face Ohio State every year, obviously. And then you're also going to want to have them face Michigan State every year, which might create a little bit of a scheduling imbalance. If you're facing Ohio State and Michigan State every year, those are normally the, two of the better teams in the Big Ten. We'll see with Michigan State, but with Mel Tucker, they're trending up. But Ohio State, you're facing Michigan, Iowa, Illinois. I think that's pretty well balanced. Penn State, a team like Wisconsin, Maryland, and Purdue, I think that's kind of balanced as well. So those were just my overall mocks on what I think they're doing. The overall structure, I believe, will be you'll face the three teams every single year. The same three teams every single year, and then you will face five other random opponents every other year rotating through. And I would expect something to be announced within the coming weeks, because this maybe even in the coming days, if they're going to have them remove the schedules. Clearly something is happening, and people have been talking about division realignment. I think it's too late for division realignment in the Big Ten. It should have happened already. It probably should have happened 3 years ago. There would have definitely been a way to be a little bit more proactive about it. I feel like they kept thinking Nebraska was going to be better. They were going to be better, and what ended up happening was Penn State just got better, and then Michigan State with Mel Tucker just got better. So the teams on the East got better, and, Wisconsin's been good, but they're kind of stagnant, and the West has just really struggled when it comes to competing with the East in the conference championship game, unfortunately. So I think we're too far past, division realignment in the Big Ten to where maybe you could switch Penn State and Northwestern to try and make it more balanced. I think if you were ever going to do a division realignment in the Big Ten, you would move Penn State to the West. And I understand it doesn't work like the East versus West thing. It wouldn't work, but this is just what you have to do to balance it. move Penn State to the West. That keeps Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State in the same division, so they still face each other each year, and that sets up Penn State facing Wisconsin every year. And also Iowa. So that would balance it out a lot better. Just moving Penn State for a crap team like an Illinois. Yeah, probably Illinois would get screwed. Illinois and Indiana would be screwed in that situation. But either way, I think with the Big Ten, we're going to have an announcement within the coming weeks about the divisions being scrapped, and it will be very interesting to see the way they go about that. And if it is, you face the three same opponents each year, it's going to be very interesting. Will they stack Ohio State's schedule and make like two of the common opponents, Michigan State and make two of the common opponents, Michigan and Penn State? I hope they don't do that. I hope they keep it fair for everyone, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. I saw this little update on Dante Moore. If you guys don't know, the 5-star recruit. It says 5-star QB Dante Moore sets a date to visit Texas A&M. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Please, God, no. Please. Not the NIL collective. The Texas A&M NIL collectives, they've taken a deserved 2 or 3 months off. They're going to get back at it, it looks like, with this kid. Oh my God. You like, if you're recruiting this kid and you're Notre Dame or you're Michigan and you see something like that, it's a death nail. But it'll be very interesting to see what kind of NIL deal Moore ends up getting. He's a top 10 player overall in the class. Also another team to watch on him, Oregon. Oregon is very interesting. This kid is from the state of Michigan. So without NIL, you would think this would be a Michigan versus Notre Dame battle, but with NIL. And if this kid wants a big NIL deal, we already saw one 5-star quarterback get an $8 million NIL deal. This kid will not be going, to Michigan or Notre Dame unless they completely change the way they operate in terms of guaranteeing money for to a high school recruit. And when it comes to the overall NIL thing, I really want to stress to people that I would love, I've already talked about the NIL Authority Board that I want the NCAA to put in place, where it just investigates NIL activity, especially amongst the boosters. But I think there is a specific law you can really put in place, and what I want people to understand, when it comes to NIL, and I always say this, we want it to be an on-campus entity. And the idea is, and maybe you make a law to where you say, we're just going to be straight up with you. You can promote NIL deals with your current players. Like if CJ Stroud gets a major NIL deal, you can tell a 5-star college, 5-star high school quarterback recruit visiting, you can say, look at the deal that our current quarterback gets. That is fair game. But it's almost like I am so big into the idea of removing boosters from college football. I would almost make a law to where if there is any, and the big issue, this is what I want to talk about. The big issue is boosters are the NIL. They're interchangeable. They're the same things. Boosters will say they have NIL deals. They have an NIL collective. You can get a sponsorship. That's the problem. So it's almost like because boosters are in turn NIL, you have to eliminate NIL or any talk of giving kids money until they're actually enrolled into your program. That's because it's like what's going to start happening, even if you try and police these boosters, there's workarounds for this stuff. What's stopping a booster from, when a kid's visiting, going up to the kid, pulling him aside and saying, listen, I can't give you a deal right now, but when you come here, we can work something out, or we can obviously you can't do a written deal at that point because today it's illegal. They're doing it anyways, but today it's illegal. What's stopping a booster from saying, listen, we can't really say anything, but we'll give you this if you come here, and we've got this lined up for. There's nothing So it's almost like you have to eliminate NIL from the recruiting process in terms of the boosters' involvement. It is so complicated. Listen, if a kid wants to go to a school because he sees CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, that's not even like, You can get, if you are a good enough college football player, you will get a massive NIL deal at pretty much any major college. So even like this whole idea of, oh, this is what CJ Stroud made. If you come to Columbus, you have these opportunities. You have those opportunities anywhere. You really do. It's the idea to where we don't want kids choosing schools based off of who's paying them the most money. And it's going to really hinder their development. And that's what happened with Texas A&M and the defensive linemen. And we're going to be seeing a lot of those kids hit the transfer portal. And you're going to have kids transferring out, big-time recruits, elite talent. That is not what you want, because that is going to significantly affect the way those kids are developed when you transfer, and it will hinder your development. Transferring does not help you. It can help you if you get more playing time, but you don't go to a school to transfer, right? You go to a school because you want to start for 3 years and then go to the NFL. And a lot of these kids at Texas A&M simply will not do that because they're all the same exact position, and they're going to have to end up transferring. So I think the thing that I stress when it comes to NIL, hitting on the point, we want NIL to be an on-campus entity. We want it separated from the recruiting business. When NIL first broke out and it became legal, that's all that recruiting was NIL, and still really is for a lot of these schools, like a Tennessee, like a Texas A&M. That's their major calling card. It's NIL contracts. It's, we will give you money to come here. They're not offering you this money, so come here and get guaranteed money right now. Yeah, sure, they might develop you better in the future, but if you want guaranteed money, you're going to come here. And that's what kids are doing. And kids are 16, these are 17-year-old kids making these decisions. You think that's smart to put a 17-year-old kid in that position to where it's like, yeah, I might be developed better there, and in the long run, if I'm a first-round pick in the NFL draft, I'm going to get a $20 million contract, but I can get $2 million and a new Ferrari tomorrow if I commit to the school. We don't want to put these kids in this position. That's why there has to be a total separation of the NIL stuff and recruiting. Again, you can say, listen, CJ Stroud's making this amount of money. Bijan Robinson's making this amount of money because of the opportunities that reside in Austin, Texas. So if a recruit wants to take that into account and say, if I go to Austin, Texas, there's going to be opportunities for me to make money because I see Bijan Robinson being a star in college, using his name, image, likeness for a profit, which everyone is fine with. And again, the other thing they'll do, their only argument is, oh, you're against kids getting paid. I'm trying to protect the kids. I was never against kids getting paid. We've already seen this thing go completely off the rails when you sign 4 5-star defensive linemen that play the same position. There is something inorganic being done, and it is going to significantly hinder some of those kids' developments. Significantly. So that is the whole issue with the NIL. Of course, you've got the other kind of side of it where you just tell everyone to cheat, which is kind of what, Nick Saban referenced when he's saying I shouldn't have singled out Texas A&M because other schools are starting to do it, like Florida, like Miami, like Oregon. Other schools are really starting to do this because they see what Texas A&M did, and this is exactly what I said yesterday when I was like, listen, these programs are going to see Texas A&M and see that nothing happened to them except the fact they got a massive influx of elite talent. That's with the use of NIL, the only thing that happened to Texas A&M was positive. They got basically a championship type roster. Now managing that roster, managing the culture in the locker room with all of those kids on multi-million-dollar deals, that's going to be a little tough. But they still have the overall talent, and these schools are so desperate to get the overall talent, they think they will just get the kids in the building. Get the kids in the building. We can win games if we have the talent. That's what all these programs are thinking. That's what all the boosters think. That's why NIL is going to be a major problem if the NCAA continues to not police it, and they say they're going to do a better job policing it. We're seeing stories of these boosters completely work around any sort of rule the NCAA has in place. That's why I say let's just eliminate the contact boosters or NIL, collectives have with players, until the players get on campus and are enrolled in a school. Let's remove the boosters from the recruiting process. That seems like it's the answer to me. And again, the only way any of this works is if you come out and you make an example out of a program so the boosters actually get scared. Because a lot of this is these boosters are going to cheat no matter what, and they're going to cheat more if they see programs getting away with it, like Texas A&M. You see them getting, nothing bad happened to Texas A&M. They got rewarded for cheating in NIL recruiting. They got rewarded with 5-star prospects and a championship-type roster. They got a 5-star quarterback. They got 2 5-star receivers. They got top 100 defensive backs. They got a 5-star corner. They got, really good linebackers. They got an unbelievable NFL-style defensive line. If you're not going to punish this type of behavior, it will not be discouraged. And the boosters will only get worse and worse. And these programs like Miami, like Tennessee, maybe they haven't had a lot of success recently. It's only going to get worse. So we've got the NIL thing, guys. It's really bad. And then when it comes to the Big Ten, like I was talking about, I said this in a video like 3 weeks ago. I said, listen, this is just the evolution of college football. I like the idea of there being 2 divisions. I do. But realistically, you want the 2 best teams in your conference championship. It is weird because it's like, is it going to create Ohio State versus Michigan in a rematch? This past year, it would have. And again, it's kind of weird. We understand it. But at the end of the day, you do want the 2 best teams to be in the conference championship. That's just the bottom line. Whether it's Ohio State and Penn State, whether it's Ohio State and Michigan, whether it's Michigan State and Ohio State, whether it's whoever, you want the 2 best teams. It's like Ohio State facing Northwestern. That really shouldn't happen. There's a flaw to that, And something against Northwestern. I like when Northwestern makes the Big Ten championship game. I think it's fun. But there is a flaw to it because we all know Northwestern is not the 2nd best team in the Big Ten. They're just in the right division. And that's the sort of the evolution that people are going to have to get used to it. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people are traditional, but we understand. It's like when the playoff expands to 12 teams, that is an evolution we're going to have to get used to. And it will overall, in the long run, be good for the sport. It will overall be good for the sport because it will make more meaningful college football games late in the season, and we won't have to deal with kids opting out of New Year's 6 games late in the season. So those are just some things I wanted to hit on, guys. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.